Good morning, it's Shanna. This week I want to do a December wrap-up, even though it's only December 19th. I just have a lot that happened in December, and I'm already looking at 2026, how I want to set up my journal, decks that will be coming in. I think I just have one Kickstarter coming in, but there's one for Make Playing Cards that should be here on Monday. So I'm going to be kind of just jumping back and forth, essentially, is what I'm saying. Hopefully I can kind of keep it chronological, just in the interest of making sense of my story here. So let's start with early December. My daughter did have her baby, so I am officially a Nanna. That's the name I decided to go with. And I went back and forth, and it's funny because I had decided on Nanna because my name is Shanna, and I just thought, growing up I was always Shanna Banana, so I just thought it was kind of fitting to be Nanna. But it's funny because at work there was this child that came in probably 2 months ago, and they were probably 10, I guess, and they were with their grandmother, and for about 10 minutes all I heard was Nanna, Nanna, over and over and over, and it was the most annoying sound. And maybe it was just like my mood that day, I don't know, but I just thought, I don't think I can be called that. I don't think I wouldn't just like wring a child's neck who said that to me over and over. So I told my daughter that, and she was like, in all fairness, I mean, this was like, the very end of her pregnancy, but she was just like, oh, you're changing your mind again. Well, whatever you want to do. She was very gracious about it, but I could tell she was like, what the actual hell are you doing? So I gave it some thought, and I literally don't know how I found this, but I was on the internet doing Google things, as we do, and somehow the goddess Nanna came up. I had never heard of her in all my probably 2 or 3 years of looking up different Norse goddesses. I had never heard of this one. And so despite the fact that her story is a little bit sad, I liked what she stands for, and it was kind of like a sign from whatever, a sign from the universe saying like, yes, this is okay. This is who you are. This is the name you should choose. It's going to be fine. Other people's children have always annoyed me, even like as a teenager. For a long time, I didn't think I wanted kids because other people's kids drove me nuts. And now that mine are grown, I find that I'm kind of reverting back to that mentality of like, okay, well, they're cute or whatever, but please don't talk to me. Please go away. I don't know what to do with you. You make me uncomfortable. It is what it is. It's nothing personal against anyone's child. Point being, I think, my daughter's child will be it is my grandchild, and I think it's not even that I think. I've been over to their house, half a dozen times, and just being with him and having his energy, pressed close to me and seeing the way he looks at me. Woo, got a little emotional for a second. I'm going to rein it in. I'm already attached, is my point in all of that. So I think it will be fine for him to call me Nanna. So I'm thrilled. Everyone's happy, healthy, adjusting, and all things seem normal as normal as they can be, right? In other news, I won't even get into it. A family member passed away in December, and it was really sad, and we're still adjusting to that and dealing with the aftermath of emotions and memories and just dealing with that in general. I want to say really the first family member that I've experienced losing. As an only child, as coming from a very small family, I still have my uncles, my mom's still with me. I did lose my stepdad, but that was under strange circumstances, and so I don't know, it feels different. This feels different. But anyway, so December's just been a lot. It's been heavy, it's been busy, and I haven't done a lot of tarot specific things. I've done the occasional reading. I have brought in a few decks. I've done a few reviews, which, by this point, I know you've seen, or at least seen the thumbnail for a couple of the Llewellyn reviews I've done. I have another review coming out of 3 books that they sent me. I think that's all I have from Llewellyn right now. I'll have another one come January. if for anyone who's wondering, you know, the reviews, they're not going to be like a staple here on my channel. It's just something, you know, it's nice to get a deck from the publisher that I would otherwise have bought myself. So it's nice to be able to get those things, to be able to review for you, test out the deck, see how I like it, and essentially not have to pay for it. So that's been nice. And Llewellyn does occasionally, as was the case with the Witch's Ally, they will occasionally throw in a deck, like a surprise deck, which I haven't decided yet. I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to request not getting those in the box, because I'm pretty selective with what I'm bringing in at this point in my practice. And so to get a surprise deck that I didn't necessarily want can be kind of frustrating, because it just means I have another deck I have to find a home for. But on the flip side, it is fun to get a surprise deck. Let's be honest. It's fun to open the box and see something you weren't expecting, and it's a nice thing to be able to test a deck that maybe you thought wouldn't work for you and that potentially could work for you. So I'm on the fence in that case, but I don't want anyone to think like this is turning into a review channel, which I love review channels. There are several that I follow. I go to them specifically for that reason. But I know it can be frustrating when, you know, you're subscribed to someone for specific reasons, or you know, maybe even not specifically, but then maybe they kind of switch up the vibe of it, and sometimes that can be frustrating. So I don't want you to think that's going to be my main content. It'll be an occasional thing. So all of that aside, I have begun planning the look of my 2026 planner, and I'm going to try to do this without bumping the camera too much. So if you've been here a minute, you know I used my the Wild and Sacred Feminine deck. It's such a long name. Wild and Sacred Feminine Oracle. And every week I pull a card to be my guide for the entire year. It was something I did from the first week of January, and it was every Friday because Saturday is the first day of my work week. So that just felt like a natural flow of the week, which kind of threw my weeks, meaning I'm going to I'll pull the very last of the 52 cards on the 2nd of January, because that'll be like the final week. But that's okay. We're going to let it roll. But I went through a few days ago and I wrote, this is very sloppy, please don't judge my handwriting. I wrote the card I pulled and its keyword for each week. And I think what I want to do, so going into 2026, I will be working, I'm going to pull the deck over here, I'm stretching. I'm going to be working with the Kentucky Oracle. That is so hard to say, I don't know why. So a couple months ago, I thought, you know, the year is wrapping up. I really loved this practice of pulling a card a week from this deck that, you know, felt specifically, it's not meant for that specifically, the Divine Wisdom, right? I'm going to stop saying it wrong. I'm going to set it right here. This deck was not set up to do necessarily a pull a week. However, because there are 52 cards, it just felt natural, and it was something that I was leaning into anyway, so it was just a natural progression of this is what I want to do. But because I enjoyed it so much, I really wanted to incorporate the same practice into 2026. And as chance has it, the Kentucky Oracle, see, I did it again, Kentucky Oracle is set up specifically to work with it on a weekly basis based on the seasons. There are journal prompts, and I don't even know what. I've barely cracked this just because I've been looking forward to it and excited, and I wanted to leave it for 2026. But I want to pop in just to show you. I haven't read the title. I haven't read any of this. I think I briefly looked at the table of contents, and I will get to the point of this. Okay, so it goes by weeks. This will be like the 3rd week. So it looks like there's I don't know. I'm just gonna call it like I see it. It looks like there's something beautiful to read. It looks like there's keynotes, kind of a tip, stop thinking, cultivate what causes illumination. And then we get into the symbology, the guidance as an icon, as a portal, and then the practice. And I want to take this practice each week and incorporate it into my own practice. That is my goal for 2026. It looks like we've got a creative prompt that I would likely use as a journal prompt, and then the ecological connection, which again, I haven't gotten into this, so I don't know the details of it, but I'm really looking forward to it because I enjoyed that ritual of a weekly practice. And because it was weekly, it didn't feel overwhelming. It was something I could do, as I had time. Like I could do it on a Wednesday if I knew I didn't have time on Friday, or I could do it Saturday or Sunday morning as needed, if I was behind. And I was really excited because I don't generally stick to things like that. It's not something that comes easily or naturally to me. However, this year it did. So I want to incorporate that. And I mentioned it to a couple friends, and they said, as chance might have it, they are also they're also working with the Cantigy. So at least to start with, I think we're going to do kind of a group practice. We'll see how that goes. Sometimes that sort of like throws my mind into a loop where I'm like, well, I don't want to do it now, or it's too much now, so we'll see. If it freaks me out, I will just kind of like step away from the group activity, but that's where I want to go. And so this is my goal for 2026. I'm going to put the card and then a single keyword, I suppose, for each week. And then I thought if I wanted to maybe add other keywords, or maybe just a sentence that resonated, or an idea that resonated, so that at the end of the year I could have something for each week. And what I want to do with that potentially is, and I might even do it with this one, is maybe make a poem out of it, or I don't know, a short story, something. I kind of want to make something out of this. So we'll see. I haven't put it quite together yet, but we're glued here. But that's what I'll be doing for 2026, and I'm really looking forward to the practice of it because, like I said, it's fun to look back and see, an entire year's worth of practice on a few pages. That's pleasant for my brain. As you can see, I've not pulled yet for this week because today is the day I'll be pulling, and then I've got one more, which will be the 26th. So those will be my final two cards. Oh, I said the 26th. That will be my final week. Although I say that, the reason I was confused is because I have 3 cards left, which is weird. I don't know what I did. Somewhere along the way, maybe I missed a card. I'm not sure. But doing it like this, anyway, I haven't figured it out yet. I have an extra card. We'll figure it out. So I've gone through December. This is my Lion Hearts challenge. This is what I do every month. I fill out the journal prompt. I add his spreads that he offers, and I just type it up and write it down, and then I make a little pocket and I tuck it in there so that it's all available. I do this, in theory, I do this before the month so that when I sit down for, a tarot practice on any given day, I can leave my phone in the other room, or at the very least mute it and not be distracted by all the things. The other thing that I will be wrapping up in 2025 is completing my table of contents that will go in my Happy Planner. I will put a picture of that on the screen because as of today, I haven't finished the second half of the year. I think I went through August, but I'll get to like July in my journal, in the year, and then I'll go back and I'll do January through June on the table of contents, and then the same thing. Once I hit the end of year mark, the last day, then I'll go back in and finish from July to December. So I will put on the screen what I have so far, and I create one of those every year, and it's been extremely helpful because there's been multiple occasions where I'm like, how did I do that ritual? How did I do that spell? What was that poem I wrote? What was that manifestation I had? And I can go back to previous years' journals and I can find it easily because I have it set up in a way that I can look for spell and then whatever it is, or manifestation or whatever it is, and so it's categorized by month, categorized by type within each month, and it's been extremely helpful. So that's something I've enjoyed having and will continue to do into the new year. As far as getting my journal finished, I do still need to go through and finish this December title page. Usually I'll make notes or something. Sometimes if a specific guide for the week stands out, especially where Psyche was kind of a theme for me this month, especially where I'm turning 50, just that idea of transformation and change and moving forward and all that good stuff. That is something that I will likely fill in here towards, as we hit the last few days of the month, just kind of a reflection type thing. So, and then obviously here I've written down the decks that I've used, which, like I said, there's only been a few decks that I've pulled out. I just haven't really wanted to, I've really kept it simple. And actually, I think towards the end of November, I cleared off the shelf here next to me of most decks other than these three as far as the seasonal ones go. And I've kept it really simple because I've been very overwhelmed and limited on energy. So that was that. The other thing is I bought for myself my third Pyra, I think that's how you pronounce it, my third Pyra necklace. So a few years ago, I found this company and decided to get a necklace for myself. It was the first year that I worked, so it would have been 2021. And I had spending money, which we hadn't really had in a very, very long time, really, if ever, we were okay to spend this money. It wasn't just like, we should really just spend this money because we deserve it and we've got an extra $50. It was actually, that was the purpose of my working. Get me out of the house and give us, a way to have some spending money. So I treated myself to this necklace, and this is called, of course, my page, it's called Seek the Light. And it said this talisman reads something in Latin, which I can't say. The moth is a reminder that the guiding light you are seeking is inside you. Follow your intuition to your path of transformation and realize your highest potential. And I bought a little pentacle to go with it, just a little tiny guy. And I wear this almost every single day. It's my very favorite necklace. It's, it meant something. It meant that I was moving on to this new stage of life where I wasn't just a stay-at-home mom. Not that the just has to be there, but I was contributing in a new way to our family. So that was a fun little thing for me to get. Then I think it was actually the beginning of this year, I was going through this I was going through a phase of really just being drawn to and wanting to be close to the ocean. And I kind of went through this phase of being drawn to the Kraken. I don't know why. I still feel like that hasn't quite been resolved, but I sort of set it aside because I wasn't really sure what it meant. I wasn't sure what it was asking of me or what I should have been doing. I don't know. It's still just kind of this unanswered thing that's floating around in the ether. And this company does have a necklace with a kraken on it, but I didn't care for that as much as I thought. Got it untangled here. Because this one had a bird and an anchor, so I felt like it sort of drew in my world of birds and also the ocean, energy that I had been experiencing. So we've got the anchor here and the crow. And again, I added another little pentacle to it. And this one is a symbol of intuition, insight, and self-knowledge. The raven on this talisman holds an anchor in one claw as a reminder to still and steady your anxious mind. Staying grounded in the present moment helps us to live more fully. And because I was, I am an anxious person. I have anxiety, I have depression. It just felt like something that I could sort of hold on to. And in those moments of anxiousness, I could wear this necklace and have it and, just kind of, it was one of those things where I feel like I can touch it and hold it and sort of bring myself back to reality when I'm having one of my moments of anxiety, for lack of a better way to put it. So I love this one. And each of these, so the moth, I want to say, was like a 16 inch, the raven's an 18 inch. And then for my third necklace, I don't think I'll buy any more unless for some reason maybe that Kraken's really calling to me, but I think this will be my final one. I did get myself one for my 50th birthday. I unwrapped it because I'm the one that ordered it. I unwrapped it and I put it on my altar in my closet to sort of charge it, and I haven't worn it. Tomorrow's my birthday, as I said, so tomorrow will be the first day that I'm wearing it. And this is the Bluebird and Lily of the Valley. They are uplifting symbols of joy. They encourage the wearer to embrace the notion that happiness may ebb and flow, but always returns in time. And I just love this. I love Lily of the Valley. Again, it's another bird, which, I can't get enough of. And Lily of the Valley was my great-grandmother's favorite flower. So it has a lot of symbology and meaning to it. And as I mentioned, depression is a thing for me. And so sometimes I just need that reminder of like, yes, in this moment, I might be experiencing this feeling or these things, but it's temporary. So I'm excited. That's the shortest one. And honestly, the biggest one, I was surprised that this one was so much bigger than the other two, which I'm thrilled with. I think it's really cute and they look really pretty together. So I'm excited. I love having them. They're just a little something for me that, I don't really buy myself jewelry. I'm not much of a jewelry wearer. So other than my wedding ring, and the occasional pair of earrings. So it was a fun splurge, and I like having 3. In case you don't know, I'm obsessed with 3. If I do anything and I'm able to do them in 3s, I will absolutely do it in 3s. I have 3 children. It's just a thing. It's just a thing. So that was a really long-winded way of explaining that one little card. But I'm ready to turn 50, I think is kind of my point. I am here, I'm ready. I am on the threshold of transitioning into whatever this next phase of life holds for me. I really feel like I was pushing against it a little bit, but I'm starting to sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel where that's concerned. And to be perfectly frank, perimenopause has not been helpful because it's been a struggle. I really don't know of it. I don't know what other people experience other than like what you kind of hear on Google or social media, but it's been a struggle, and hormones and anyway, all the things. And, I started kind of a series here on my channel with perimenopause and tarot, and I would love to continue doing that, but I'm not really sure how else to incorporate it in a way that is shareable, I guess. Something that you guys could relate to or use in your own practice. I'm not sure. I just haven't quite come up with more content, I guess, where perimenopause and tarot is concerned. So perhaps we will get back to that, but for right now, I'm just focusing on other things. So the last thing in my planner, I think, is really just finishing up the last few pages. I showed this return of the light spread in one of my other videos, and someone asked me to share the spread with them, and I will hold it up here. I did reprint it because if you saw that other video, it was a bit of a mess. So I reprinted all of these. I have one for each Sabbath. I don't know for sure if I will be sharing this specific, I don't know if I'll do a spread and then share that. But if I do, it'll probably be on Instagram just because that's kind of the easier way to share a spread like that. Okay, so in the other video that I mentioned, the one that I did the book review for Llewellyn, this is one of the books. And in it, she has Divination for the New Year, a winter solstice ritual. So I might do this. It looks kind of like, I haven't read through the whole thing, just kind of glanced at it, but it looks like essentially she's pulling cards for the next year, which I don't like to do until January 1st. I just feel like, I don't know, it's like jumping ahead of the game. So I probably won't do this one. I thought maybe I would, but I don't think I will now that I'm looking at it. So I won't be doing that, but if you're interested in doing your own winter solstice spread. That might be fun. And like I said, I might share this on Instagram. This is going to be my last right side page, I guess, for the year. And then I have this for my last left side page. And then I've left this open as a pocket so I can add in different spells or whatever. Like sometimes I have these little things from the Witch's Almanac. And then this is extra, but yeah, and then I will just be removing all of these extra things, and that'll be my last page for the whole year. So I'm almost there. We're almost there. We've wrapped it up, and it's, you know, this is only half a year, so perhaps when I get it all put together, I have my table of contents done and everything's complete, maybe I'll do some kind of flip through of it, because as I've mentioned in other videos, I hesitate to share like the things I've written in my journal, but I like to show like how thick it is and the stuff I have in it. So we shall see on that. Next is I've been giving some thought to what deck I want to use for my year ahead spread for 2026. This year I used the Chrysalis Tarot, and it's been a great deck for it. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed having the little guidebook that went with it. Just this here. And I know, you know, other people have mentioned having this deck, and they've mentioned that it's a fantasy deck for them. It is not that at all for me. This feels very much like an archetype type deck. So that's been enjoyable. I suppose, do you want to see some cards? Probably everyone here has seen these before, but here are the backs. It's just a pretty deck. You know, the colors are nice. It has a gentle energy. There are a lot of these, she has a term for it. Basically, they're archetypes, essentially, without getting all up in the weeds about it. But it's beautiful, and like I said, I really enjoyed having the guidebook, the bigger guidebook, because I could pull it out each month, read about the card, understand the energy of that card on a deeper level. It gave me something to journal about, and then at the end of each month, I would revisit that card before I went on to the next one. So it's just been a lovely practice, and I really want to have something, you know, do another year ahead, but I haven't decided. I'm considering maybe the Crow Tarot, but I don't know. I'm not really attached to that deck, so I don't know. Maybe later today I will do what we do and stand in front of my tarot shelves and contemplate for a while and see if anything, you know, really speaks to me about which one I should use. So the decks I've brought in, did I say I wasn't going to talk about that? Well, if I said that, I lied. There are only a few that I brought in this year, or excuse me, this month. And the first is, where did I put it? Oh, right here, literally right in front of me. I brought in the Good Tarot. This I bought from a fellow YouTuber, and you know, it was a good price because it's used. It's in perfect condition. This is one I've been curious about. They're kind of big, but the artwork sort of reminds me of Colette Baron-Reid, which, you know, I really like her stuff. She has really pretty stuff. This artwork is, I think, if not already, it's on the cusp of becoming outdated, or dated, not outdated, but dated. I think it dates itself, you know, mid-2000s. This came out 2017. So, yeah, late mid-2000s. But I just think it's pretty. It shuffles. Does it shuffle? I think it shuffles pretty well. It is kind of big and chunky, but yeah, it's nice. It's kind of sticky because it's that glossy cardstock, but it's one of those things that will loosen up with use, and I'm fine with it. Just the fact that it does shuffle is fine with me. So I don't know. I'm drawn to it. I'm not sure why specifically, but I just like the energy of it. Ever since I saw it, it feels, I don't know, it feels like it belongs to me right now, and I just need to decide what its job is, what it's asking of me, and use it. I like having it in my collection, and it reminds me a little bit of, which I don't have up here right now. It reminds me a little bit of the Shaman, what is it, the Shaman Oracle? I don't remember what that's called either. Wisdom of the Shaman? I don't know. But that's what it reminds me of. It's just got that kind of dreamy, like these numbers here. And maybe it's the same artist. I don't remember. I can't keep track of all this stuff, you guys. That's what it makes me think of. And I like looking at it. And it just has that, it has a voice that is, it's like it has a secret that it's waiting to tell me. And I just have to sit with it long enough to give it the opportunity to share that secret with me. So I'm excited to have this in my collection. Speaking of that, I have, in case you don't know, I have added a handful of decks onto my Etsy shop that I'm selling, rehoming. Not everything has been listed. It takes a lot of time to get all those up and descriptions written. So as I sell down of those, I will be adding more. I've got probably, 10 more decks to add besides what's on there, in addition to Little Bird, of course. On the note of Little Bird, I have 15 decks left from this first printing of the second edition. I have 12 decks listed on Etsy because I like to try and get everyone's decks shipped and delivered before I run out of decks. So like if I ship out the 13th deck and it gets lost, I want to be able to replace it immediately. So in theory, that's where I'm going with it. The last few decks will show up one at a time just to make sure everyone gets what they need. And I will be reordering another print of the second edition. So nobody panic. It's not, it's not a race. I just want you to know that if you want it, by the end of the year, probably if you're within the United States, I assume you'll probably get it. If you order, if you order by Monday, you might be lucky to get it by the end of the year. Otherwise, hold off and you can get one next year. So that's that. The second deck that I brought in that has arrived, because like I said, I do have one coming. It's in the mail. It should be delivered Monday, which technically is still December. And had I waited to do this, I would have showed it, but here we are. So this one I just brought in a few days ago. It arrived. Awful box. It's fine. It's sturdy, but there's no thumb holes, and it's just about impossible to get the deck out. Especially if you take the cards out and then put the lid on, you're basically never getting that box open again. So I'm excited to have this one. I have currently the Animal Guide rune cards, which I've been working with, and I really enjoy the guidebook in this. However, the more that I worked with it, the more I realized that unless I'm just not getting it, the runes and the animal correspondences don't really work. I don't really understand why they chose some of the animals other than they're just pretty. My other issue is that where some of them have the rune quite prominently, others, I don't know where the rune is. I don't know what it looks like. I don't see it on here. Is it supposed to be symbolized by the shape of the animal? I have no idea. This one, it's in her earring. This one, it's on his side. Some are quite obvious. Others, like this one, okay, like it's supposed to be his antlers, but I guess it's up there in the sun. I just saw that. Like this one, I don't see the rune here. And there's probably another handful like this where I don't see the rune. So that's frustrating, and I don't understand the correspondence, the correlation between the animal and the rune. I do enjoy the keywords, but besides that, I don't know. So I might just keep this deck just for the book. I think the book is great. I like how meaty it is. But I wanted a deck that I could study and really have something to sink my teeth into. Like, I want to understand why Menaz is associated with rosemary. And once I understand that association, I think that will help me learn the runes. And I think it's kind of like giving me a keyword to grab onto, like rosemary. Okay, rosemary is like protection, right? Or cleansing. So once I understand the correlation, the connection between the two, I'm hoping that will help me learn the runes a little better, because despite the fact that I've been studying them now since I want to say like mid-September, I still don't get it. I couldn't tell you what this is without seeing the name of it. It's just I'm not grasping it. So I'm hopeful that this one will help. And I like, I like the artwork. It's not, this sepia kind of two-tone thing is not really the stuff I go for, but I think for this deck it can work because it's not distracting. It's letting the rune be the main focus, and my hope is that this will help me learn finally. The guidebook is pretty straightforward. You've got keywords and reversals. Talks about where the power lies. I haven't really read through this, I'll be honest. And then it talks about the plant. So it looks like maybe there's a little journal prompt or contemplation for each. So I'm hopeful. We shall see. This was a mass market. I want to say it was like maybe $19 on Amazon. So I'm excited to have it. Here are the back, or here is the back if you want to pause and read it. So that's it. That's all I brought in this month, which I'm fine with. I've mentioned I've slowed down. I feel like a lot of us have slowed down these last few months, and we're all saying the same thing. We're trying to be more intentional with what we're bringing in, and I think we're all a little overwhelmed with our collections. Maybe not all of us. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and I really want to just pare it back to the things that I really love to work with, that I really want to get to know and learn, and just kind of take out the other stuff, right? Okay, in addition to the Cantagee Oracle, I said it right that time, look at me. I'm also going to be incorporating this Simple Abundance, a daybook of comfort and joy. I originally saw this on Journals for Breakfast. She has a great channel. I really enjoy her content. She mostly talks about journaling, but she does generally pull out an oracle deck, and she'll do like a 1-card pull at the end of each video. So she does use tarot and oracle. Does she do a pull? Maybe she doesn't do a poll, but she does use the oracle deck, and I think she uses it's a Colette Baron Reed, actually. It's the animal one. I'll try to remember to put a picture of it on the screen. But anyway, she uses it as journal prompts within her journaling, and that's just one of her practices, and I just enjoy her channel. So anyway, she talked about this, and basically, this is a book with an entry for every single day of the year. So naturally, I'll be starting on January 1st. And it's literally just an entry. So I just want to read the entry each day. And if I feel like journaling with it, I'll journal. If I feel like pulling a card to go with it, I'll do that. And if I just want to read it and move on with my day, then I'll do that too. But I've never done this before. And I love the idea of stepping away from my phone, from the mindless scrolling that I've been doing. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I stepped away from that a little bit. I was just, I took a break. I was just overwhelmed with it was a disgusting habit of just sitting on the couch and scrolling. Like I can't get back that time, and I have projects that I want to work on, and I wasn't doing those things. I was picking Instagram over those things, and it was just giving me nothing in return. So these practices, these simple 5-minute practices that rather than saying, oh, I have 5 minutes before I go to work, maybe I can scroll. Instead, I can sit and read and reflect. And I just think that sounds like such a nice way to spend my time with more intention. And I will say the reviews on this book, and I believe Andrea from Journals for Breakfast also mentioned that God is mentioned in here, which initially I was like, I don't want that. But I think she said, and also, like I said, the reviews mentioned, it's not really like it's not trying to get you to believe in God. I think it's just mentioned. It's not something that's prevalent or overly used. So we'll see. Hopefully it's not something that just detracts from the book itself. So we'll see. I'll report back. I'm excited to use it. This was a vintage copy. It has the ribbon. The one you can get now, This is the updated version. There's an even older version. I don't remember what the differences were. But I really wanted the one with the ribbon, so that's the one I grabbed. And Willa Cather, you guys, have you read anything by Willa Cather? I read her, I want to say, in high school. I feel like we were required to read a book by her. And for the life, it was Oh Pioneers. That's the one I read. And I just loved it. It made such an impression on me. To this day, I think about that book. I need to buy a secondhand copy and reread it, because it was one that really made an impression and resonated. And I don't know, like I said, to this day, I think about it. And so anyway, Willa Cather quotes. It's got Ralph Waldo Emerson quotes, all kinds of other people. There's all kinds of, people most of us have heard of, and some that we haven't. So that's another practice for 2026. Now, my next practice for 2026 is going to be a Marseille study with Jay of Iridescent Tarot and Aaron of The Witch of Saturn. And I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to this. I've always wanted to learn more numerologically about tarot, so I think this will be a fun way to incorporate that in a way that the Tempest Tarot book, or Tarot by Tempest, just didn't quite hit for me. So I have high hopes for this. I'm excited. And in my quest to find a Marseille deck that I wanted to use, this was the first one, this Tarot de Maria Celia. This is out of print. I will not apologize for out of print decks. I don't think anyone needs to apologize for showing out of print decks, because I want to see them. I think we all want to see the out of print deck. So no need for apologies. I think this is pretty. It's been around for a long time. If I had to guess, US Games took it out of print because it just wasn't that popular. I think Marseille in general is not a big seller. Anyway, it was out of print, and by the time we decided to do this study, I was like, well, what deck do I want? And this was the only one whose artwork I didn't hate, besides Squid Cakes, but I wanted something a little more traditional than Squid Cake, because I also have that one. And I was like, well, shit, it's out of print. Now it's going to cost me $80 to get this thing that I had zero interest in prior to now. But I did find one on AV Tarot Market. She had it listed for $20, and I snatched it up real quick before she realized what she had in her cart. Or maybe she did. Maybe she just didn't care. But I like the coloration of this. However, it's small and it's really hard to shuffle. So, I got it and I was like, okay, this will be my deck. Yeah, I get it. I love it. The coloration's great. And it's a little tiny stiff guy, and it's shuffleable, but it's not very satisfying. So then I continued my quest, and I sort of just thought, well, I'll keep my eyes open. If something else pops up, I'll snag it. And Thea from Garden Goddess Tarot has been doing a declutter of her collection, and one of her videos was all her Marseille decks, and she featured this Tarot Classic. And the second she showed it, I was like, oh, that's the one I want. That's the deck I need. So their faces are not weird. The artwork, I mean, he's kind of weird, but he's the devil, right? I can let that go. I like the white backgrounds. I like the coloration. Most Marseille is far too garish for me, or it's too washed out. I don't care for most other Marseille decks. This one is nice. It's fresh. It's clean. I don't really know how to describe the colors. They're nice. They're summery without being bright. They're not jewel toned. They're muted. They're dusty jewel toned, but without feeling vintage, right? Because I didn't want to lean that either. Anyway, I like this one a lot, and I really like the backs. I'm not sure what color I thought this was. I knew it was red and something else. When I got it, I was like, oh, it's gold, which I don't love with a capital L, but I don't mind it. And I like it better than almost every other back I've seen. Other than, I feel like maybe Artisan Tarot. I really like their backs, but I don't love the coloration on most of theirs. So, thrilled, and it shuffles nicely. So this will be my other practice for 2026. This will take us 18 weeks to complete based on the schedule that Jay has created for us, and I'm excited to get into it. So what else? Anything else? I think that's everything. So thank you so much for joining me here again this week. Thank you for your patience. If you're not interested in watching, the reviews that I've been posting lately, I do want to say, I have one tiny thing that I want to say. When I posted the Witch's Ally Oracle review, I did get one comment. They have since deleted it. They've deleted their comment. I did get one comment saying that I was too harsh, that I went a little too dark with my comments, that they couldn't even finish the video. Basically, they couldn't believe my audacity. That was not their word. That was my word. And I did reply, and I was like, first of all, my review was never meant to be dark. I am not a dark person. Finish watching the review. Let's start with that. Like, not finishing the review is not helpful if you have a comment. And I just said, my intent was to be discerning, not dark. And I kept my reply short. I wasn't, I wasn't like I was clapping back or anything, but yeah, I'm going to defend myself because that was not the intent. And to only watch part of something and then accuse me of being dark is kind of a little bit strange to me. Anyway, my goal with any review is not to be, I want to be real. If I really like the deck, if I'm excited about it, you're going to hear that in my voice. You're going to, it will be reflected in my review. But if I don't like the deck and I'm not into it and I don't understand the artwork and I don't understand why they do certain things on the card, I'm going to say it. Like, that's the whole point. Llewellyn, the representative who I work with, the only requirement he told me that there is in these reviews is that I'm honest. And so I'm honest. I'm Sagittarius with Capricorn rising, Cancer moon. I'm going to be honest. And I don't know how to mince words. I'm not going to, I think the only time I've really struggled with saying that I don't like a deck is if it's an indie deck, because I know how much time and effort can go into them, but I'm also not going to be disingenuous. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to say I like it when I don't. And if it's a mass market deck and hundreds of thousands of people are going to be buying this thing, I'm going to say if I don't like it. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. So I just want to put that out there. If hearing me say that I don't like a deck is uncomfortable for you, maybe don't watch that video. And again, this is not coming from a place of click off, don't watch my channel. This is not a place of anger. This is just simply saying, by all means, only watch things that you're comfortable with. And if you are trying to learn something or understand why someone feels a certain way about something, then again, by all means, watch something that makes you uncomfortable and sit in that discomfort for a while and ask yourself why it's uncomfortable. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not sure what everyone's schedule is like here at my house for the coming week, so I may or may not post. If I do, go me. And maybe I'll save that. Maybe I'll save those book reviews for next week just to have something to post if I don't record. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for sitting around while I rambled, and I enjoy having you here, and I love all your comments and the time you spend with me. And I hope your holidays, if you celebrate any of them this month, I hope they're lovely and warm and full of joy. Thanks for being here. I'll catch up with you next week.